I know people go off and do community drumming that no one cares. In fact, it doesn't matter. You're all drumming. You can easily get into that rhythm. It just feels incredible. There's a connection at a level you can't comprehend. And incredibly healing and wonderful, wonderful fun as well at the same time in this. It bonds the group together. It's almost, I suppose, like you said, we're all in the same womb at the same time with the same beat, all connected. I mean, most people, I'm saying the majority of people outside in the Western culture, that they're not going to buy that. They're just going to say, oh no, well, yeah, fine. A drum circle, yeah, that's fine. I can understand that. Everybody drums, that's all okay. But how on earth could that, they can't get their head around. You could use drums, you can use gongs, you can use sound to heal, for want of a better word. But it's not really healing. It's just about opening that fossil and letting it out. Without even having to express or say a word. So share with us, Anu, how do you do that? What's the space you create? Give us some examples, because I think most people, they couldn't get their head around this. You don't even speak.
I think so for the longest, as I said, I'm still trying to find answers. And I told you that when I started doing this and I started seeing people and the changes in them, I started wondering whether I was doing something wrong or right. Because it's not just about the West looking at it and saying, it's also about the East looking at it and saying, is that voodoo? Is that tantrism? What is it? And to be really honest, and I'm screaming out and saying it's scientific, it's scientific, it's scientific. It might sound really, oh my God, should we really go to her house? Because, when she's playing, 15 people are falling apart at the same time. And what is happening over here? Is she doing some mantras, or is she doing something that we don't know? And others would call it, I've loved using the words that people have used and said, tamas. Tamas is the lowest vibration that you've used. And so, you're getting this kind of result. So the answer to it is, I don't know, Richard, what happens. I don't know what happens, and I don't care, but I know it works. And does it matter that we don't know everything? But I see the evidence in front of me every day. So let me take you through a few examples of it. So there was this young man who walked in. I remember this was in a class where we were integrating work. And as we were playing roles, and I was trying to, so we had worked already with Meta Health and EFT. So we had done Meta Health diagnostics and said, hey, you have this issue going on. So I won't get into the issue. And then we're doing EFT tapping. And I said, okay, let's just try with the bowls and see what happens. Experiment. And my teacher walked into the room because she wanted to experience, because somebody went and told her, hey, you know what? Something is happening in Anu's class and we really need to experience it. So she actually did not tell me that she's going to be there, but she's most welcome. Come have a seat. And then started playing the bowls the way she had taught me. And this man speaks in a absolutely foreign language, which he doesn't know, I don't know. And he's behaving as if he's levitating up, and he's screaming loudly. And there's another person over there at the same time, and I'm playing for him, who's behaving as if he's taking a rebirth. This to somebody must look like a jungle full of mad people doing some funny thing, carrying these bowls and screaming around. To find out what it is why I met so many teachers. To understand only one thing, and that is there are many phenomena, many things that are happening in this world that you and I cannot really explain, but they happen. And we need to respect them. And we need to, at that point, take what's really required from it and move ahead. I know you love me to give you some, and I can give you, oh my God, this is this theory and that theory and that theory and that theory. And no, I don't want to say that. But the experience that I've had out of it, well, let me explain. Let me put it really in the way that I think people will understand. I don't know whether I should be using that example over here, but what the hell? Let me go ahead. When you have an orgasm.
Oh yeah, definitely use an example like that. Go on.
When you have an orgasm, you don't go ahead and ask yourself, why did I have that? What really happened in that split seconds that I enjoyed the person so much that I had this amazing experience in my body? You cannot explain to anyone what's happening. Why are you feeling happy around it? You can explain the mechanism and say, hey, so many hormones will be secreted, and yes, this is good and that is good. But explain to me what really happened. Not the physics of it, not the biology of it, but the feeling of it. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's the feeling of it. That cannot be captured again, and every orgasm is different. You cannot have the same orgasm ever again in your entire life. And it's like that with sound. You will never have the same experience ever again in your life.
So it's going to be, yeah, that does help. That experience and certainly that time when someone is in that heightened pleasure sense. Even let's go back to Indian understanding of there's this whole tantric sex thing. But what I know about tantric sex is it's not about the sex. It's about that experience and that connecting on a completely different level, and not only that connection on a completely different level, it's spiritual, for want of a better word.
Exactly what you said. It's a connection. It's a connection that forms between the beat of your heart, going back to the primitive time when you were inside the mother's womb. It's a connection that at some point we had only one thing. We had sound. We had no language. We gave it a sound, a meaning, and made it a language.
And you know what? I'm going to say something just so that people can really, truly understand this, because you said something there and I just want to point it out. When we are in our mother's womb, all we have is the heartbeat and the sound. We don't have the visual. We might get light. Definitely, we definitely do get light coming from through the mother's womb, through the skin. But we don't have the visual sense that we do now when we're looking out on something. But we do have the sound. We hear the mother sound. And even there is research as well that we can go back, that when you play, say, Mozart to the baby, they come out more intelligent. Forget about all of that. But there is some great understanding that, and I don't think it needs a leap of faith, that the mother's heartbeat, that the sound of the father and the mother, the sounds that are going on around are being heard. We know that the auditory sense, if we want to take some science to it, is developed before the visual sense and other senses in the body. Why? It's because it's there to assist the child to evolve and grow. And we also know that if there's a very loud sound, that the fetus, even at a very young age, will react to clench itself up for protection inside the womb. That's been logged. That's a little bit of science, but what I love, I forget that's important, but what I love is this, what you're also bringing back is this this wonderful connection back with mother, back with this place where it was completely, as you said, totally safe, that there was this wonderful connection. And even the heart, though, although people say, oh, the heart develops at a very young age, I think it's something like 16 weeks in, everything else starts pumping, supposedly pumping. It actually doesn't pump, but um, there's obviously even a noise there inside the child because we have our own heart. So this sound is this medium which accounts for, there's no words there. The child's not listening to complex language there. It's just hearing sound
and vibration.
Yeah.
The vibration of the sound goes far beyond that you and I can think of. In fact, if you go to the African countries, there are many, how the natives know that there is danger is that they will put their ears to the ground and hear the vibrations.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Vibrations tell you whether something is safe or not safe. And the bowls, the sound of the gongs, the bowls, the drums create that space which we are all searching for. That is to be safe. That's our basic. If we are not safe, we cannot survive. The problem with today's world is that we are walking around thinking that there's danger waiting for us, because we cannot sense the vibrations of safety. And these vibrations are created, which stay, which settle within you, and you embody that safety within you. Now, do you really need to tell someone, don't worry, everything is going to be okay? Versus you're hearing the sounds that your primitive mind knows, because you still have the brain stem, which is from the reptilian brain, which is probably carrying the memory from those times that you and I don't have, but it has the sounds of safety. And maybe that when we're creating in that room those sounds of safety, the environment of safety, people just having fun together, it brings back the community, that sense of that I belong. The first thing that I belong, I'm going to be safe in this world without anybody saying anything to you, where people express with their bodies, with the cheering, with the smile, with the expressions. Because when someone is playing drums or gongs, it is very difficult for people, especially with drumming, it's very difficult for people to be sad. You may have tears, but those tears are not tears of sadness. Those tears are the tears of joy. And that tears of joy really connect people together.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I've got to come back to India to experience that with you, because I know I'd be drumming away and just crying my eyes out with joy as well. But let's
we did do at Barcelona in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, or 19. At the Meta Health Conference, I was accompanied by two more people, three of us, who carried all these bowls and gongs. And I did play at the conference. But what I'm trying to go at is that it's not just me, but it's the mental health community that experienced this. And there was a lot of screaming, shouting. And I've also played at Brown University at Providence in US, and people had similar experience. Plus, I've always realized that if we are even singing a sad song, it's a metaphor, something that's happening in our life. If you're singing a happy song, it's a metaphor of something that's happening in our life. That is the reason those words come to you. So when we're talking about language, it is what we are not living our life. We live our life in metaphors. We live our life in pictures. We live our life in colors. We live our life in community. We live our life in safety. But when all this is missing, our life is colorless and safety is missing. That's what you can bring back by nonverbal. In fact, I haven't spoken much about the clay work or the artwork right now, because we're focusing more on the sound. Plus, I've always realized that if we are even singing a sad song, it's a metaphor, something that's happening in our life. If you're singing a happy song, it's a metaphor of something that's happening in our life. That is the reason those words come to you. So when we're talking about language, it is what we are not living our life. We live our life in metaphors. We live our life in pictures. We live our life in colors. We live our life in community. We live our life in safety. But when all this is missing, our life is colorless and safety is missing. And that's what you can bring back by nonverbal. In fact, I haven't spoken much about the clay work or the artwork right now because we're focusing more on the sound.
Yeah, we
But to
have.
really to honor what is really happening. And in fact, I've just submitted a thesis of which is talking about, I worked on about 12 women over last 12 months. And I've just submitted a thesis where talking about how applied arts can help mental health issues. And they were all women. Ultimately, I mean, I started with about 12 women and I completed my thesis, that's a proper thesis, on about 7 women. And some of them ranging between the age of 40 to 77. And I took this range because they all had gone through certain losses and stuff like that. And what was amazing for me, each one of them opened up, each one of them. And I have charts to show that, I have the singing to show that, I have the drawings to show that, and I've tabulated it. I put it in a proper, documented it and put it in a proper form so that people understand the potential the nonverbal has. My dog doesn't talk, and yet she expresses herself so well. Birds don't talk, they express themselves. Why do you need a language? Because language is always misunderstood. But if we use sounds, in fact, language has been the biggest dividing power between people. If you learn my language, then I understand you. But why can't we understand each other just because you are you and I am me? And have the gratitude for each other and then move ahead with it. That's missing. It becomes too complex.
So the key, I think, is to understand that when we're talking, being, acting from truth, from what is true, and we're getting back to that safety, that place of the mother's womb, the place where we're connected with the past and the future all at the same time.